I sense that Mr. Peru is about to surprise us too.
I believed in him. I followed him to the best of my ability. I championed his ideas, defended his decisions, and then, without even realizing it, I became lost.
Now that I've told you everything, you want to take my place, do you? No. I am Emily. You are wasting your time. Louis knows very well how to tell us apart.
Someone had the bang coming from the Duchess's room, and she isn't answering.
Louis, you really must learn to conceal your weaknesses better, if you don't want your foes to use them against you.
Our desire is to steer the destiny of our respective countries for the good of all, and to no longer suffer the random hazards of history.
It is the natural order of things, Monsieur de Richet. There have always been men who govern other men. That is simply the way it is.
History forgets them with a disconcerting facility. No one speaks about them, and yet they whisper in the ears of kings and presidents. But where are we?
I don't know, but we better not hang around. Be careful, Mother. As if me saying that will make any difference. Knowing Mortimer, I wouldn't be surprised if he rigged his crypt with traps.
So you think the door is not enough?
Do you want to wager your other hand?
You've got a point there. We have to find that weapon. What do you know about the Holy Lance, Louis?
The what?
The Lance of Longinus the Centurion.
Now that you mention it, I did catch Von Wollner in the middle of an altercation with Piaggi.
What?
Von Wollner blamed His Eminence for having supplied Mortimer with all the lances in the Vatican's possession.
If Mortimer has all of them in his possession, it's not going to help us.
Seriously? You don't really believe that fable, do you?
Every fable is founded on true events. I'm not saying that everything adds up, but imagine if it really did exist.
Very well. Now what?
Well, now you know what you need to find.
Pardon?
I have to get to the wharf to prepare our departure. Let's get off this cursed island as quickly as we can. We shall come back when we are ready and armed.
But hang on.
Louis, let's first get to safety. We shall come back when we have the upper hand. Fear not. You take care of getting the lance. It's imperative. I'll take care of preparing our departure.
Hang on. At least tell me everything you know about this lance.
But I have never seen it. There's nothing else I can say, Louis. Well, you can always go snooping around Mortimer's study. I remember seeing paintings of Longinus there.
Hang on a second.
What's the matter?
Why did you shoot Emily's sister?
Do you really think now is the right time for this?
I want to know, Mother. Why did you betray her?
Listen, Louis. I don't think you've really understood my interest in the Al-Azif. It's not just simple curiosity about some old relic.
You tried to kill her.
And I had no choice, for crying out loud. It must not fall into the hands of the demons, or we are all doomed, don't you see? Listen, I don't know exactly what it contains, but I prefer to be one step ahead. If they want it, there must be a reason. And even if I don't know what it is, I want to stop them for safety's sake, no matter what.
Nothing will stop you if I understand correctly. Not
Enough,
even...
Louis. If you could see the extent of their power as I do, then you would understand what I'm saying.
All right, we'll do it your way.
One more thing. If they find you in possession of the lance, They won't let you get away with it. Choose only one and hide it under your jacket so you don't get caught with it. Then run and meet me on the wharf.
And if I get caught?
If they catch you in possession of the lance, we're all doomed. Do you understand?
Perfectly.
Good. And go talk to Piaggi. He's the one who probably knows the most about this.
I can see that this lance has a so-called leaf shape. It is made entirely of iron. I can see that the tip is engraved with the symbol of the sun. I can see that this lance has the characteristic shape of a spear. It is made of iron, and its tip is engraved with a cross.
A fragment of amber.
This sarcophagus is engraved with the name of Clemens III. Good God! The one whose cross allowed me to enter. Clemens III. Clément III in French. How come his tomb ended up here and not in the Vatican? He was basically an anti-pope. His path to the throne was pretty turbulent, and he had to be enthroned several times. The result of a long conflict between the papacy and the Holy Empire. This sarcophagus is beautifully made, but ancient. Stone is marked by the passage of time, but it's really well preserved. I can see that this spear has a so-called leaf shape. It is copper rimmed. I can see the tip is engraved with the symbol of the Eye of Ra. This one has no name. I wonder who it was for. Well, here we can see this lance has a leaf shape, is gold rimmed, and a fish is engraved on the tip. Flavius Aetius. It was cut a long time ago. You can tell by the rough hacks of the tool and the patina of the stone. This sarcophagus is very ancient. I'd say it's several centuries old. Flavius Aetius, the one they call the last of the Romans. He was assassinated by his own emperor, who was jealous of all his victories. But how did he end up here? This lance has got a blade in the shape of a spear. Its blade is an iron or steel, I think. I can make out a rising sun engraved on the tip. The sarcophagus has been ravaged by time. It's sort of ageless, I guess. It's entirely sculpted. These symbols, these grooves, cuneiform script. This is humanity's oldest alphabet, the language of Babel. Sadly, no one today even knows how to decipher it. There's also some text engraved beneath in ancient Greek, Sargon. Is this the tomb of a king? Judging by all the sculpted symbols of power, this is really ancient. The inscriptions are all eroded. I don't know what those marks mean, but maybe a stone or epitaph. We can see that this lance has a particular spear shape. It is coated in gold. You can distinguish the symbol of the fish engraved on the tip, barely noticeable. We can see that this lance has a leaf shape, and, well, it's in gold. I can see that a crucifix is engraved on the tip, just barely visible. Let's take a look at this lance here. It has a very special leaf shape. It is copper rimmed, and I can see a fish symbol engraved on the tip. I can see that this lance has the shape of a boar spear. The blade is partially coated in copper, and I can just make out the symbol of the Eye of Ra engraved on the tip. I can see this lance has a spear shape, it is copper rimmed, and it has been engraved with the symbol of the Christian fish on the tip. This lance has a leaf shape. It is copper-rimmed. The symbol of the Christian fish is engraved on the tip. I can see that this lance has a so-called leaf shape. It is clearly made of iron, and I can make out a sun engraved on the tip. The sarcophagus of Lord Mortimer. It's the only sarcophagus in this crypt which appears to bear the Mortimer family name. What ancestor can it be? There's no inscription. Let's see what we can find here. It's the only sarcophagus in this crypt which appears to bear the Mortimer family name. What ancestor can it be? There's no inscription. Let's see what we can find here. It's far too heavy. I'm not going to be able to do it on my own. The Bible must mean the lance which finally took the life of Christ. 4 Gospels each give an account of the death of Christ. Let's see what they can tell me about the lance. There's nothing about the lance in this account of the crucifixion. This apostle does not mention the lance in his description of the death of Christ. There's no mention of the lance in what Luke says about the death of Christ. Ah, there.
When they came to Jesus and saw that he was dead already, they broke not his legs, but one of the soldiers with a shimmering lance pierced his side, and forthwith there came out blood and water. And he that saw it bore witness, and his record is true, and he knoweth that he saith true, that ye might believe. A shimmering lance? What is this telling me? Good evening, Mr. President.
Good evening.
Hard to kill time on this island. Nothing ever happens. Gets a bit boring, don't you think?
Are you joking, my friend? I'm sure you're just being ironic.
Yes and no. It's true that the manor is full of books and works of art. Unfortunately, the subjects are restricted to Lord Mortimer's specific tastes. The Crusades, religion...
Yes, that's true.
By the way, have you noticed the representations of the Holy Lance he's got all over the place?
No. It was the last thing in my mind, to be honest.
Oh, well that's a pity. I would have enjoyed chatting about it, as I would have done with my mother.
See you later.
Huh, that's me. Monseigneur, His Eminence Cardinal Piaggi. The Cardinal's not in his room. I bet he went back to stuffing himself. Dear Giuseppe, poor health forbids me from joining you. Please thank Sir Gregory for his invitation to Lord Mortimer's. I'm convinced you'll be able to strengthen our agreements. Please tell Sir Gregory that his enterprise concerning our friend Cardinal Bishop Chiaramonti is following its course. I place my trust in you. May God bless you and give you protection. SS Giovanni Angelico Braschi. Have a look at his personal papers. Of course, it's in Latin, the language of the church. All those hours of learning Latin declensions are going to pay off in the end. Mother will be proud. Now this could be interesting. Let's say a sancte, various representation criteria, of which are shown the most common throughout the centuries, and in different forms. If Piaggi's notes are anything to go by, the weapon I'm looking for is shaped like a tapered spear. Well, that should help me identify it. Cardinal's not in his room. I bet he went back to stuffing himself. Your Eminence, would you have a moment to spare?
Not now, Louis. Please, leave me alone.
I beg your pardon?
I want to be alone.
Very well, I'm only searching for information about the lance of Longinus, the soldier. If you could...
You're not listening to me. You are playing with fire.
I heard you speak to Mr. von Wollner about it, and I was wondering if you could tell me something about it.
That was a private conversation. How could I have known that he was listening to us?
I see what you mean.
Louis, don't push it. Leave while you still can.
Your Eminence, are you all right? Your Eminence, are you with me? Can you turn around, please?
What do you want to know about the Holy Lance, Louis?
Your Eminence, turn around.
This is the weapon used by a Roman centurion on the very day Christ was nailed to the cross.
Look at me.
Longinus thrust his lance in the right side of Jesus.
Please.
As you wish.
His nose is bleeding.
So, you are looking for the Holy Lance of Longinus, are you?
Exactly.
Frank and direct. I like that. Thank you for not trying to be sly. You are looking for the lance. You should know, you are not the only one. Lord Mortimer has spent a good part of his life and his fortune trying to find it. Never will he let you have it. But tell me, before going any further, have you spoken to anyone else about this?
Briefly with President Washington.
What does he know exactly?
Absolutely nothing. He advised me to speak to Mr. von Wollner.
Very well. Is that all?
No one else.
What are you going to use the lance for, exactly?
If I told you why I needed this lance, you would never believe it.
Trust me, you can tell me anything.
It's our only chance to vanquish the demons.
Oh, my dear God, Louis. You sound just like Sarah. Do you realize you are following the same path, step by step? Sarah also started by imagining things. She too spoke of demons, I am told. She could no longer speak to anyone, and saw a hidden monster in every guest, lurking in the shadows, ready to devour her. You must let us help you. Louis, I thank you for your sincerity. I shall answer you about Longinus. You deserve to be told. His spear-headed lance did indeed pierce the side of the Messiah. His blood gushed out, covering the head of the lance. It was covered in the blood of Christ.
Thank you. Thank you, Your Eminence.
You are welcome. Be careful, Louis. You are on a perilous path. Don't follow Sarah's demons, my boy. Don't delve too deeply into her delusions, or you won't be able to come back. The demons that she is frantically trying to drive away are in her own mind. Take good care of yourself. God keep you.